allow me to introduce you to the General Motors clamshell motor mount. People of YouTube, clamshell motor mount. Clamshell motor mount, people of YouTube. So, if you have a General Motors with a V8 and the year of your car starts with a 19, this is the motor mount you probably have. GM used this from, I believe it was 1968, all the way through till 1999. So it had a long run. They put them in everything, but they're all basically built the same. Your shape might be a little different depending on what kind of car it is. I know some of them, like this one's flat. This is from a square body Chevy, a 1989 K5 Blazer. Some of them have one low side and then this side's like halfway up. They're still put together exactly the same. So, as you can see, this is the worst one. My motor mounts are shot. You can tell that because they're all shoved down to one side. Got these big old cracks in them. And this car or this truck doesn't have a ton of miles on it. It's only got like 80, 90,000 miles on it, but these mounts have been in there for like 35, 40 years, right? So that's a lot of time of just the weight of that V8 engine sitting down on them. So if your motor's moving around a lot, or you can hear the mounting on it clashing and banging on like your cross member and stuff when you're driving or stopping or doing burnouts or whatever you may be inclined to do, you might need new motor mounts. And today we're going to show you how to change them. So the way that this works, it's like a captured design, right? You have a top plate, a bottom plate, and then your motor mount is sandwiched in between here. So there's a very specific way to take these apart. If you've never done them before, I can see how they're a little tricky. Once you know how to do them, they're all the same, right? It doesn't matter if the architecture of this is a little different. They all go together and come apart the same. So, like I said, this is from a square body Chevy. So it's held together in two spots. If you look on the bottom side, you can see kind of this flared out, kind of punched in spot. That kind of acts like a rivet, right? And it squeezes these plates together. I've got one there and one on this side. I think it's the GMT 400 trucks have two on one side and one on the other. Camaros or something like that might be a little different. It doesn't matter how many there are. You identify them the same way, and what you need to do to get these shells apart is drill these out. The way that I like to do that is just with a step bit. So there's one side. A little bit more. And there's the other side. And now, ta-da, they're apart. So, you don't need to worry about drilling these out. So, you just need to drill them out. That's why I like using a step bit. I think the instructions on new mounts, we're going to be putting energy suspension poly mounts in. Their instructions might give a specific drill size. I think they say like 3/8. But these are old smashed together parts, right? You might need a tiny bit bigger, you might need a little bit less. So like I was doing, what I found is you just get you a step bit and get it in there and then just kind of, walk it around a little, get it a little oblong, and you'll see when they separate. So separate those. Like I said, some of these have two on one side, one on the other. Doesn't matter, you just do it one more time, right? And you want to keep the orientation the same on these. These ones on my square body look like it's two of the same mount mounted that way. But you see these little arms on here? Boom, boom. And you can see mine's been sitting on them for a while because this mount's so collapsed, they're all wore down. But you've got a high side and a low side. So you need to make sure that your high side and your low side match up. Always read your instructions. It'll tell you exactly which way it's supposed to go. But obviously, right, if your high side's over here and your low side's over there, your new mount is backwards. So pay attention to how these things come apart. We're going to keep that together. Oh, that's the old one. We're going to drill this one out too. There. See right at the end, hot, it spits out that last little bit of that ring. So you can see that side's apart. A little bit more. So let's see just how bad these mounts are. And like I said, I'm keeping all my orientation the same. Luckily on these ones, they've got the notch. So as long as like you keep your left side together and your right side together, although on this one it looks like they're probably interchangeable. Never assume that. They only go together the one way because they've got this notch. So line your notches up. But look at that. That's how great my motor mount is. And you can see the bottom's doing the same thing. And that was the driver side mount. Passenger side mount's starting to crack. It's not falling apart quite the same, but this is the side you can even see just looking at it how it's all shoved over and collapsed. So that's why these are getting replaced. High and low side. So you can see the difference here. This is that energy suspension poly mount. Now all the cars don't take the same poly mount. So look your poly mount up. You can look on Energy Suspension's website themselves. I can tell you this though, for square bodies, because I just went through this ordering these mounts for mine. For square bodies, they don't give you a ton of engine options, but it gives you, depending what year you look up, it'll give you 2 different part numbers for the motor mount, but it doesn't tell you what the difference between them is. So I'll put links in the description for you guys and label everything in the description, at least as it pertains to square bodies, because we're also going to be doing a transmission mount. If you're into square bodies or general fabrication, off-roading, hot rods, lowriders, anything cool with cars, check out some of the other videos on this channel. Guarantee you'll want to stick around because we do some cool stuff around here, in my humble opinion. But as I was saying, there's 2 different part numbers. Those 2 different part numbers are for a small block engine or for a diesel engine. I think big block trucks use the same mounts as the diesels do. Don't quote me on that. Do your own research, but I'm pretty sure the diesels and the big blocks use the same mounts. The small block mount is 3.1116 G. G, of course, stands for black because black starts with a G. If this has an R at the end, it's for a red mount. The other part number I'll put in the description. I think it's 3.1152. 90% sure. Like I said, check the description. That's for diesels. Otherwise, the mounts are the same. They come together, they go apart, all that's all the same. So, be cognizant of which ones you get. Always double check your mounts. I am going to clean these up and paint them because they are filthy, but you can see how this mount's been collapsed for a while, right? Like they're all going to be wore through on the top, but this one's been rubbing this inside for a while. See that nice shiny part? So this mount, the passenger side mount's been collapsed for quite a while. So I'm going to clean these up, get some fresh paint on them, and then we will be back to put the new mounts together, and I'll show you the trick for that. Alright, so I got these painted. These are motor mounts, right? These are not show painted. I just brushed them down, cleaned them off, got any sort of oil or anything like that on them. The big thing was just any bare metal that had rubbed through from these sliding around for 30, 40 years. I wanted to have a layer of paint on it so that these things don't rust or anything like that going forward. So we're just basic, quick scuff and spray. As I was saying earlier, it's important that you put them in. So you've got a high side and a low side. High side and a low side on this particular car, and I would imagine most of them, your high side is going to go towards the center. You can look, if you forget, as long as you keep sides apart and you remember how they came apart, like this one, I can still see my little witness mark for the side that had a single bolt and the side that had dual bolts, and I know single bolt went towards the center. And then you line your notches up, line your notch up. Now these, I've got these already orientated correctly, so we'll get these old ones out of the way. So these have a little bump on the bottom that you can see. That correlates to the bump in the plate. And then these top two ridges line up with the top ridges in here. So we're just boom and boom. And then the same on this one. Top ridges, bottom ridge. And so they come with some zip ties. These ones only, I know that this specific motor mount is used because you're just replacing this inner piece for multiple cars. If your motor mounts came with 3 of the spots that are kind of like press riveted together, you might need to grab an extra zip tie or 2. This round of these only came with the 2 zip ties. But what these are for is, before, when you took them out, right, these were pressed together so it stayed together while you fish it in where it goes, right? Your assembly is just going to be the reverse of how they came out of your car. Like I'm sure I included in this video, they're crazy simple on this car, and I believe I mentioned on like F-bodies or just plain like rear-wheel drive trucks and stuff like that. Getting to these bottom bolts is a little bit trickier because they're kind of buried up in either like the spring pocket area or like that little cavity above your lower control arms. But all these are for is to kind of replace the job of those little riveted, pressed together areas while you're putting them together. So we have these lined up. Put your zip tie through the holes that you drilled out and zip it down nice and tight. And make sure when you do this that you do the little bump on the zip tie, right? The part that it zips through. Put that towards the top, because if you put that towards the bottom, this isn't going to sit flush on your mounting pad. So, same thing from the bottom, zip it from the top. Make sure everything's lined up good. Get her good and tight. And now we are good there. Let's get this one. And I guess, suppose when you get these together, if you want, you could get up in there and cut these zip ties and get them out. But realistically, I don't reckon that matters very much. They're not going to be in the way of anything. They ain't going to hurt nothing in there. You'll never see them. If I was doing like a show truck or something, or a show car or something like that, I'd probably go through after this is all bolted together and snip those. And I still might. But what you do want to make sure you zip off is these tag ends. I'm going to use these flush clip pliers so that when you're reaching around in there, you don't accidentally cut yourself on a little tag end on a zip tie. These are together and ready for reinstallation. If you end up getting these together and you put them in there and these tabs aren't lining up with your motor mounts correctly, at some point while you're taking all this stuff apart, you probably accidentally flipped one of these backwards or something. Just pull it back out, cut your zip ties, flip it around, put it back together. That's all there is to it. Like I said, it's one of those things, you know, once you know how to do it, you'll know how to do it for the rest of your life. They're really not that big of a deal. The hardest part about doing these is getting them out of the dang car. So, I will link to everything in the description. Like I said, the different mounts, these little flush cuts are amazing. I'll throw those in there so that it's easy for you guys to find these things. Currently, when I made this, These mounts, these are going to be an Amazon link. The Amazon link for these was half price of Summit. They were literally like $30 instead of $60. So I'll link to those. So anyways, that's all there is to it. If you found this helpful, consider giving us a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. Maybe check out some of our other videos, help this channel grow. I greatly appreciate it. I appreciate you guys taking the time to do it, and I wish you luck. Go get your car built.